And it is here where all of the plot lines of Chainsaw Man Part 2 finally converge, with Nostradamus' prophecy beginning to bear fruit and prematurely summoning the Death Devil to the human world 1 month early. The eldest sister of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, while clearly not at full power, has descended in order to save humans. Based on the Death Devil placing her hand on this random student's head and declaring that she will release him from his suffering by removing him from this mortal coil is almost about as concrete of a confirmation that you can get about her identity. And feel how you will about Fujimoto's decision to place death on the earth early in a weaker preliminary form, because you can't hide it from me, I know this is quite the controversial plot point in the community. As I said last week in the previous chapter, I genuinely think having the avatar of the apocalypse showing up to associate with the living before bringing about the ultimate end can kind of be a fun and interesting storyline to follow. Especially knowing that, according to Yoshida and Fumiko, there's still about a solid month or so before the promised day of death. Honestly, that opens up plenty of opportunities for characters like Denji, Asa, even Yoshida, Yoru, or Fami to interact with the Death Devil, and we can just get to see her perspective on everything and who she is as a character. At this point, we really don't know much about the elder sister, but we do know that she supposedly feels very bad about humans and their situation, and therefore she feels like killing all life on Earth is actually more of a blessing than it is a curse. We don't know this devil's name just yet, actual name, so I can only just continually call her Death, but Death as a character right now seems pretty unstable, for lack of a better term. Just mentally fragile. Sure, she wants to help humanity any way she can, probably just so she can ease their pain before it all just comes crumbling down, but this results in her just being just super weird, and it causes her classmates who are already on edge from just the terrible state of the world and having to plot this school festival that they're just gonna talk shit to her and just tell her that she's being fucking weird and making them all uncomfortable. Now, as the strongest devil of all, history, the most powerful being probably in the universe, she cries as she takes that. Absolutely just balls. That being said, even though she is kind of like a very quote-unquote fragile character, she does hold herself to some kind of standard and does understand her level of power. Because when the one guy asks her to take out the trash, she's like, you realize I have superpowers, right? I think my abilities are much more suited for something better than taking out the mere trash. You want an example? How about crushing ants? Which, you know what? It's funny because obviously her one classmate that tells her to go crush ants outside if she really wants to help was just being like, hey, you know what? If you want to be weird, just go do it somewhere else. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here kind of thing. But I think it's very clever and just an ironically fitting task for the avatar of the Death Devil to just be left outside to crush ants, because in a way, she is kind of accomplishing her mission, right? She's not just here to kill all humans. I imagine she's going to kill all animals. All life on Earth as we know it will perish after the Death Devil makes their run. So she is technically easing the suffering of mortals by bringing about death. She's just starting a little small, And in my opinion, that's the best way to go. You can't go all in on the apocalypse right away. You really have to just subtly build up, really in the background, slow burn it, and then just everything just breaks all at once, which is kind of what is happening. So props for Fujimoto to setting all this up and story-wise. Also, I mean, this girl's got a whole month. She might as well take her time, right? It is unclear though, based on the turning of events in this chapter, how peaceful of a stay that the Death Devil is going to have in the world, because not only will public safety have a problem with her being here if they find out that she's available, it seems like the Chainsaw Man Church, or whoever this fake Chainsaw Man might actually be and is associated with, is actually going to be the big second reveal of this chapter, as they are the very first enemy that the Death Devil is going to face. Thankfully, fake Chainsaw Man shows up to save this poor child who was just looking to be nice and sympathize with the Death Devil. He was like, hey, you know what? We're all having a rough time. We're all a little bit on edge. Let me try and be nice. How sad would it have been for this kid to lose his life over, again, being a good fucking human being? Maybe, sure, you could argue that, he was just trying to shoot his shot. But does he really deserve to die for that? Anyway, with fake Chainsaw Man, this is something that we have been waiting for forever. And the worst part is this could just as easily not be fake Chainsaw Man as it is the guy that we have been waiting for since literally like the very first arc, right? The very last time we even have seen hide nor hair of this guy, even heard about him, was in the Falling Devil arc where he saves Asa and Denji from hell. He's also the entity personally responsible for the death of Yuko, the class president that Asa met in the very early stages of the story. And after making a contract with the Justice Devil, actually, you know, the Fire Devil now that we know, she tried to reverse her devilification and she ended up becoming feed for this fake Chainsaw Man, it appears, in the shadows after she was running away. Up until this point, we had always seen fake Chainsaw Man from the shadows, hidden behind gore, or just there was always something obscuring our view of what this devil looked like. And now that we actually do have a good look at fake Chainsaw Man, this man looks nothing like the real Chainsaw Man. If anything, it's more of a Cronenberg, like malformed and distorted interpretation of what like a flesh monster like The Thing would look like in between mutations, not even as Denji or Chainsaw Man, like in between. Go watch that movie, you'll see what I mean. Regardless, whatever this fake Chainsaw Man is, it has always been, and honestly after this chapter continues to be, a mystery, because even looking at it here and now, it's impossible to tell what kind of anomaly in space and time this thing even is. The one thing I will say is that at least now having eyes on it, we can actually kind of theorize a little bit better. We get a little bit closer to the truth now, right? Instead of just shooting in the dark. For example, I have seen a lot of different and interesting takes on what this devil could be in the community. Some going as far as to say that this is the Chainsaw Man devil, which is a devil that is said to have been born out of the fear and twisted opinions and all of the public focus that's been on Chainsaw Man, which eventually turned him into a concept. He is the amalgamation of the world's collective feelings about Chainsaw Man, given life through simulacrum. Just all of this idolizing has turned Chainsaw Man into something that's bigger than life and has added fuel to the fire of turning into something in its own right. But honestly, a pretty cool possibility. I've also heard whispers that this might be literally one of the Chainsaw Head civilians that has just survived long enough to continue on its transformation into becoming Chainsaw Man and has just become very fucking distorted. Or even worse, this could be like one of the die-hard fanatics, maybe Haruka, even though he was captured and arrested by public safety and is held in detention. We do know public safety is very understaffed. We know they're very weak. Who's to say with this crazy transformation, Haruka couldn't break out? I think those are all really cool ideas to everything, but realistically, at least for me, the main theory that makes the most sense and that I'm subscribed to at the moment is this fake Chainsaw Man that we have been seeing throughout the whole course of the series, right? I'm gonna say it and go out on a limb here. What if it's the Fire Devil? What if this is the grotesque form that the Fire Devil has taken after absorbing all of that fear and public perception that was meant to go to Chainsaw Man? Because remember, Fami and the Chainsaw Man Church did that crazy amount of contracts with all of the church members and through the Fire Devil. And we also know that the Justice Devil, all of the mutations that were said to be of the Justice Devil, were actually the Fire Devil, and the Fire Devil mutating these students and making contracts with them. So Yuko, all of these other Justice Devil appearances, the class rep that killed Asa in the very beginning of the story, they all looked very grotesque and mutated, kind of similar to this. What if this Chainsaw Man abomination has been the Fire Devil this whole time? I mean, think about it. There was that man in the shadows that we never got a good look at that was talking and putting his hand on Haruka when Haruka and Fami were discussing the future of the Chainsaw Man Church and if getting laughed at on live television was what Fami had in store for them. And that was way back before even the Weapon Devils made their move. There's so many different ways this could go. Considering everything that I personally think we know about the Fire Devil, all of the thousands of contracts that were made, the Chainsaw Man mutations that happened to all the people that made contracts. Again, if all of that power that was meant to go to Pochita was meant to be received by whatever this devil is, the fire devil or whoever Fami was using, this could be the result of that. And a lot of people have mentioned how different this fake Chainsaw Man looks from the other fake Chainsaw Man appearances, which I definitely agree. There is a disparity in those of the shadows, the figures, the forms completely. He looked nowhere near as Nightmare Fuel. However, it is important to mention that all of these appearances were before the Fire Devil was fully revealed and fully contracted. So it's possible that he was less monstrous until he developed all of these crazy fucking fears and public perception. Also, not for nothing, the people that heavily theorized that Pochita was never the Chainsaw Devil to begin with are loving this, because they're also just going to say that this is the real Chainsaw Devil the whole time. And just like Denshi, he thought they were talking about him the whole time. But at the end of the day, as crazy as all of that sounds, unfortunately, realistically, we are just speculating until we get the next chapter, or realistically, whenever Fujimoto decides to tell us whatever the hell is going on. Because 9 times out of 10, when we get a crazy reveal like this, Fujimoto's just gonna cut away to maybe Asa and Denji, maybe something else entirely, who knows. I doubt we're gonna see this battle, but I could be wrong, who knows. This seems to be the final arc of Chainsaw Man. Either way, I'm loving the story of part 2. I'm loving that these things are finally converging, and whether or not this is revealed to be the fake Chainsaw Man or something different, again, I don't want to get my hopes up too much, but at the same time, I'm excited to see what comes next. Until then, guys, I sincerely appreciate you making it this far into the video. Make sure you hit that like button to tell the algorithm you want more Chainsaw Man content right to your feed. And thank you for watching. Check out the channel's membership if you want to join the Discord and talk about this chapter, among other things. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, 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 peace.